Warriors, what a day. Welcome. This is day 28 of your 31 days of advocacy. January is National Human Trafficking Awareness and Prevention Month. Although I always tell you, every single day, week, month must be human trafficking, slavery, the enslavement of people, children, every minute, 24/7, 365. Today, we must talk about something that I've rarely talked about, but I'm going to talk about it now. President Trump issued an executive order today to ban the transition of children. I'm going to keep it very simple. We're not going to go in the weeds with any of this. Federal funds will not be used to transition or care for these children. The Trump administration considers it maiming a child. The order stands for nobody under 19. And that also means different federally funded programs right now getting monies, including the military, for the transition will not be getting funded. But let's stick with the children. I don't care what somebody does when they're an adult. That is their decision. But to take children and to maim them, when I've heard those ridiculous conversations, and you've heard them too, my 2-year-old said he's really a girl. My 1-year-old said he's really a girl. X on birth certificates. I'm taking a stand about all of this. Everyone should do what they want when they're an adult, but as a child, let's have some guardrails. And I think this is an excellent decision today. Now, I'm not saying there aren't children, teenagers, perhaps 15, 16, 17, who have feelings of perhaps they're feeling gay, perhaps they're feeling they don't belong. You know, and I know, let's put the cards on the table, that all of this gender talk was pushed on our children in the last several years. There are children who actually, I'm sure, do feel like they're in the wrong body. But I have to say, then that is something that must be dealt with through analysis, through support, until that child is a legal adult, and then they can make a decision on their own. I'm in no way promoting that or disagreeing with that. I'm just saying children need to be children. And if there is a teen in trouble or having these feelings, that has to be dealt with in a different way. And that's not cutting off body parts. And that's not encouraging these types of things. I heard interesting today, we were part of a teen safety summit, the Warriors, and I was talking from a woman who just got back from Colombia. And the legal age in Colombia for transitioning is 15 and encouraged. And I do know, and you know, and I'm going to keep saying I know and you know, because you do, this was such an agenda pushed on our children. I have seen the curriculums for New York State and New Jersey over the years, I'll just say the past few years. And it was all very conducive to suggesting about gender and how do you feel, suggest it, right, to a child. As we know, children are confused about things anyway. And as I'm stealing this line from my husband, kids who don't even know what, color they like. And all of a sudden they'll decide to change their gender. But you know what? You will see a lot of media. I just did a quick scan online that is saying all kinds of negative and untrue things. It is simply to protect children, this executive order. And you know what? Donald Trump spoke about this while he campaigned. So he's keeping his promise. It's not like it's anything new. But we have to deal with our children psychologically. There's been a well-documented youth mental health crisis. 2 big warnings that I know about in the last few years put out. Let's deal in that capacity with focusing on the kids, talking to the kids, extensive analysis if that's what needs to be. But it starts with you. I'm just going to say, I don't know who these crazy parents are I've seen encouraging cutting off a little girl's body parts or a boy's, or I don't know. I'm going to leave it at that because you know what I'm talking about. So I say bring it on. let adults do what they want. Why should we as taxpayers pay for this maiming, this unnatural, right? Destruction of one's body. And I'm just going to leave you with this. My whole career was spent in the entertainment business, and I met truly one trans person, an adult, who privately told me, and this is 10 years ago, before this was so prevalent in the news in our faces every day. And this person told me, who truly believed they were in the wrong body and had all the medical procedures and hormone therapy. Excuse me. I get very worked up when I'm talking about the kids and some of these things, and it's the end of a work day, and because it never really ends, right? The work in all of this area, trafficking, children, it just goes on and on and on, right? So forgive me for that blowing of the nose. But this person confided in me and said, and today, 10 years later, is still having a lot of medical problems. I wouldn't wish this on anybody. And that was 10 years ago, before we were talking like we have been in the last, I'll say, 8 years. I'll say 8 years. Obama, Biden. Maybe we'll have to go. We had Trump in between. We'll just say the last 10 years. Because of all the medical problems, this person confided how hard it is. And also, all of those medical problems led to depression. And also that the depression, thinking changing my body, being in this new body, my life would be so wonderful and so great. And this person said, no, I'm in a worse depression. Now let's fast forward. I got off the train one time in Washington, and I had been invited to the Heritage Foundation. It was going to be a discussion of a couple of people. It was during Human Trafficking Month. I want to say this is about 5 years ago. And I said to my husband, I have some time before my first meeting. And the Heritage Foundation, when you get off the train in Union Station, is right up the hill on the left. I'm like, let's just walk up the hill. And I was invited to this, and it sounds very interesting. It was just about things about Human Trafficking Month. I said, so let's stop in. So we got there, just as it was starting. And unbeknownst to me, one of the segments in the auditorium, it was a small auditorium, very nice. It's a very nice building, nice accommodations, was a transgendered person in discussion about all of this. And this person was, I believe, in their 70s. And this person so clearly laid out how they wish they never did this, or they could go back to their original body. They didn't know as a young person what they were doing or really thinking. The tremendous toll on one's body, right? And all those hormones. It was so clear to me. That was really my first real education and hearing, right? It's always best to hear from somebody who's going through this or in this, right? Because I'm not, and you're not, most likely. And my bell went off. And this person also said, I would have never done this. Yes, this person was it's all coming back to me now, in their 70s. And just said, I never would have gone through all of this. I never would have done this to my body. It took such a tremendous toll on me. And this person also said, I thought I would be, same thing the other person said to me. I thought I would be so happy. Everything would be different. This was going to be my, savior. And it led me down a dark path of depression. And we have various teens now, or people in their early 20s who did things as a teenager, this transitioning, who said, I wish I never did this, or are transitioning back to their original sex. But you're not going to see a lot of that in the media. You're not going to hear a lot about that in the media. And right away with this executive order, it's the same things. Banning, not giving children gender-affirming care. You should be so used to by now not reading those things. I mean, scan the headlines, but read between the lines and investigate your sources as much as you can and weed out, because there is a new media. I mean, it's really been around for 10 years. It's only being accepted now. I mean, we're the media. Others are the media. We're bringing you truths and facts, as opposed to the glossy mainstream media with the overpaid anchors and who just spew out a lot of whatever they're told to spew out, and that goes for right, left, whatever you're watching. But this is something that's been told was coming. It is here. I, for one, want children to be children. I want them to be given the appropriate medical care. I believe the American Pediatric Association came out maybe 6 months ago that this is harmful to children transitioning. I think that was buried somewhere. Others have said it in the medical profession, but it's been buried because it's the narrative of this is the norm, and it's not the norm, and I know it's not the norm. But kids who are mixed up or not feeling right, and this is pushed on them, their brains, very persuasive, very persuasive. So let us stand with our children, no matter how they're feeling. If my child said, as an example, a daughter says, I want to be a boy, and they're 15 years old, we're going to be going to well-vetted and appropriate doctors. We're going to be getting psychological help. We're going to be discussing this as a family. We're not going to be rushing in to any surgeries, and the child can make up their mind when they're a legal adult, because then it would be out of my or your hands, even if we don't like it. But I am here to say I never understood, and I've never spoken about this before, these people who have, there was even somebody put out an article fairly recently, a baby knows in the womb like what sex they are. So now you're admitting, well, that's a whole nother program. It's a baby in the womb. I'll leave that one for now. Another program. We'll get there someday. A 1-year-old, a 2-year-old. X's on birth certificates, which now President Trump is rescinding. You have to, pick your gender. Here in New York, X's on the birth certificates. So, for today, community creates change. That's our hashtag. Be mindful of your children. Be mindful of everything around them. You're the parent. You take action. You're the grandparent. Talk to your kids. Talk to your grandkids. Let's just stay in our lanes and keep going, because right now it feels good, like we're winning. I don't like that word winning. We must remain vigilant at all times. It is about 4 years down the road from now. Keep that in mind. And we must keep going. But in the meantime, we have precious kids. Just today, I was part of a teen safety summit, and fantastic middle and high school girls from New York and New Jersey, numbered about 300, more than we even thought. And it is so great that they come together to empower each other and engage and talk about these issues that nobody really wants to talk about. Dating safety, things that are appropriate, kind of language. And there's power in numbers. So if one or two starts, the others come on. But when I looked out into it was in an auditorium, a gym, we held it. And we had Homeland Security there. We had DEA there. We had local law enforcement, just to give safety tips in the breakout groups, and to talk to the girls and focus on them, that we care for them. We are there for them. They are valuable to us. We want to learn from them. Again, it's that partnership I always talk about. We need digital family partnerships, and we just need community partnerships. I'll have pictures tomorrow. It's rather late right now for you, but just be aware all this is going on. So while we're winning, as a lot of people say, I say remain vigilant at all times and talk to your kids. open and honestly, age appropriate, about anything and everything that's going on. Because even with President Trump's signing this executive order today, they may hear a lot of negative things about all this or be confused. They may not, depending on their age, know about transition. So you're forced into explaining things. So let the information come from you. Let you be the leader, not some stranger online or a kid in the playground. With that, I want to remind you, community does indeed create change. Make sure you subscribe to our videos. We got to get to that 10,000. We're getting there. We're almost there. So help the warriors out. We want to get into that new super lane on YouTube so we get distributed more. More of the information gets out to you. And when you wake up each and every day, go out and be a warrior.